So for 2 years in the Peace Corps, I was in Tanzania, which is in East Africa. And when I finished, I had a job offer to come to work for the Foreign Service Office in Detroit. So that's how I came to Detroit 30 years ago. And
time flies, huh?
time flies. And then I worked in the automotive industry for a while for the Foreign Service. And then I got recruited by the city to come lead this effort, this new department that we're creating, and called General Services Department. And I came over to the city 15 years ago. Now in my 16th year, and began working with the city. And one of my responsibilities was the park system, and I just felt like it had a lot of opportunity, and that's where I put a lot of our energy, and that was growing and developing the park system.
Well, and so tell us a little bit about, and so today your title is?
Got promoted by Mayor Duggan 2 or 3 years ago, I forget now, and to group executive. So I have, in addition to general services, I have several other departments that report up to me. But my true love and first love is the park system for the city, and that's where a lot of my effort and love goes.
Yeah, so, and that's why we're so excited to talk with you today. And so is there an actual Parks and Rec department still, or no, that's general services now?
Yeah,
or...
Park and Recreation is a part of general services, and then there's the maintenance arm of the park system, which is underneath general services department too.
Got it. So tell us a little bit about parks in Detroit. Give us some numbers. Give us, I mean, we have, I think we are so lucky to have such amazing parks in the city. And I think it's something that people take for granted a lot of times.
Yeah, we have parks, parklets, parkways, greenways, and all that, with 311 in the city. And about, I'd say 250 of them are active. You've got some that were, built in 1911, and the railroad track runs it through today, so it's not too attractive to be playing in.
Right.
But about 250 of those parks are what I would call active. And then we've added a couple of new parks in the last few years as well, too, in areas where we had a park deficit. So.
And there's different kinds of parks. We, a few years ago, it was really great. We worked together on a tour in partnership with WDET around, it was about experiencing the data. And and so you can say 250 parks, and so much. And it was interesting to learn that there's different types, right? So you have like regional parks and neighborhood parks. Could you talk a little bit about those different types of parks?
Yeah, we have like regional parks that are like, you'd have like your Rouge Park, your Belle Isle, your like Farwell Park. You have Chandler Park would be a regional park to go to. Then you have like your neighborhood parks that people go to, that like Luce St. Louis. I would bet majority of people in the city of Detroit have never even heard of it, but it's this adorable, cute little park at the corner of Luce and St. Louis. And it's got a little neighborhood there that just loves and adores their little park. And so many of the parks are like that. I mean, I often hear of people that stumble across one of these parks that are like, wow, what a great little park. I never knew it was here. And I like hearing that.
Yeah, well, and that's what you guys have been investing in recent years. I mean, lots of different things, but specifically these neighborhood parks that are those small destinations for the people on that block, in that community, in that neighborhood. I mean, it's great, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the bigger parks, but talk about the importance of, and what you guys, and why you guys decided to focus on some of these smaller parks.
Sure. So when Mayor Duggan came into office, he wanted to do a lot. He campaigned a lot of the park system and brought me in to talk about the parks. And we were in the middle of updating our park master plan, which is our guidance system for how we want to renovate and manage the park system. And I told him we were trying to put more of a focus on neighborhood parks. We had a lot of neighborhood parks that hadn't had any improvements in 20 plus years. And so he found some funding for us to focus on 11 parks. We renovated those the first year. Then the following year, after our plan was approved, it was approved for 40 parks. And so we invested $13 million in 40 neighborhood parks across the city, on average around $333,000 per park. Some were a little bit more, some were a little bit less. And we went through and conducted community meetings in all those parks, and folks came forward and told us what they were looking for. And it took us about 2 years to complete it, which I'm told is record time by a lot of other parks people.
Yeah.
And we renovated at that point the 40th park, and it opened up. It was, oddly enough, our very first park we started renovating ended up being our last one, because as we were digging and renovating, we found a gas station that had been buried underneath the park in 1935.
Wow.
So a little bit of environmental cleanup there.
Yeah. That's an
But
old gas station, 1935.
that we thought too. But back in those days, they just filled the hole in, left the gas tanks there. So, and put a basketball court on top of it. So we had to go through and clean it all up. And so it was interesting what you find.
Well, I'm gonna share my screen here and let's take a little tour of some of these places. So I love what's been happening with Alfonso Wells Memorial Playground, partly because we go there a lot in our virtual tours to see the Burwood Wall. And what's great with, virtual tours is we can just go there, right? And so we see the Burwood Wall, which was built in 1941 to separate blacks from whites by decree of the federal government, which is just absolutely unbelievable, but unfortunately too believable. And we talk a lot about that on our History of Racism tour and a lot of things. So if people want to know more about the Burwood Wall, should absolutely check that out. But if you just look over here, you can see Alfonso Wells Memorial Park, which is one of the 40 parks that you guys were invested in. And just so people can see what we're talking about before, many of them, they all would have been some form of park, right? But if you look at this park, it's not a lot of, there's overgrowth, there's broken sidewalks, there's, similarly a not super well-maintained basketball court. And so then if you see what it is today, you can just see, how that $300,000 or whatever the number actually is, had a huge impact on this space, adding playgrounds, updating the basketball courts, having a little community space. And when we're over there, we see, this is being used, right, by the neighborhood. And that's a huge impact. I don't think people really realize it till you kind of see it, about how impactful on the neighborhood it can be.
Yeah, that was a great project. The community leader there is one of my favorite community leaders in the city, Mrs. Moon. She lives in the park, and whenever you're there, she will come out and talk to you. And she takes care of that park really well. And we work with her and a lot of her neighbors. And very important to them was a place for their community to gather. The picnic shelter was one of their top priorities. And the number one priority was doing that basketball court. They have tournaments there throughout the year, and I applaud them as a neighborhood. A lot of neighborhoods are shy about having basketball courts. They think it may draw the wrong element, or older guys will come and roughhouse and get in trouble. And a lot of folks don't want the basketball courts, but this neighborhood really wanted basketball courts so the kids had something to do. And those courts are usually always busy.
Absolutely, almost every time. And just so people can see where we're talking about, it's just in Northwest Detroit, just south of 8 Mile here. Another park you mentioned before that you could see the turnaround was Scripps Park.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So this was the before, which, I remember going to an event here in like 2005. Then there was like talk about, let's utilize Scripps Park, let's fix it up. But that never really went anywhere for a long time. And so today, let's see.
It's really beautiful today.
That's whoop. Did I go too far in Grand River? I went too far. That's the thing about this. There we go. Oh, there we go. I went on Grand River instead of. So here it is today. And let's see if we can see in it a little bit more.
Turned out really nice.
Yeah. But you can, even though, you can see the playground area. Talk about a little bit about why this is one of your favorite redos.
I think quiet because I thought the wall, because it was probably our biggest design challenge. Our team worked on this with the community. The community was very involved here. Community leader, a good shout out to Angie Gabo. She has always been great to work with the Woodbridge Association. So this park here had a wall around it, and the wall was kind of creepy to most people. They didn't know what was behind the wall, but yet everybody kind of liked the wall because from a design element wise, it was beautiful and old and it was very historic looking. So after much discussion, deliberation, we decided to bring the wall down. So we cut the wall down And then we put that fencing along the top, which was nice because then it kept the wall, but allowed people to see inside the park and see what was going on in there. And nobody really used this park at all. And now a lot of people use this park. Not only are families there with kids, but they've also have a homeless feeding program there. Everybody respects the park, treats the park well. It's hard to see it from wherever the angle we're at, but the flowers you see in front are also on the other side of the fence. It's beautiful garden tours. You can take garden tours in there, enjoy yourself. A lot of fun play elements. And we've also got a dog park on the far end named for the officer who was killed a few years ago with the canine unit. And I just think this turned out really well. And my kind of a funny story, when they had the grand opening, we had they were showing the Black Panther. They were showing the movie The Black Panther, and in the park, and there was maybe 100 people there watching it. And we had put sprinkler system in there, but nobody thought about events late in the park. And the sprinkler system came on at 10 o'clock. The movie was still going on. Everybody, including myself, got sprayed, and we had a good laugh about it. But so some of the things we just have to learn. But it's turned out really nice, and I think people really do enjoy this park, and the community's doing a lot of programming there too, which is nice.
Yeah, no, that's it really, I mean, and especially, so, I mean, talk about how these parks, how parks in general have been so important during COVID and what's going on with COVID.
Well, we've got a lot of renovation projects going on too. So we're in the middle of renovating. We got 158 projects going on in the parks this summer. So everything.
Was that before COVID? Like that was planned for before COVID, and then.
Yep, still going on. And so, like you showed earlier, Wells Park, like Bay Antwerp Park, just to the south of there, that just got a complete renovation. So some parks are getting completely renovated, and some are getting like new elements, right? A new playscape or new benches or whatever, or sprinkler system. So we're pretty busy with that. I would say the parks are all being heavily used this summer. And we gauge heavy use typically by how much trash we collect in the parks. And the trash collection is way up. We've had to add extra cans this year. We had to add 3 more trash cleaning crews. Especially the Riverfront Parks are really heavily used. I think that people want to cool off. It was hot in June in the 90s. Often people want to go get the water. Riverfront Parks were used. Riverside Park, which is under construction, if you take Graham Boulevard, it's under the Ambassador Bridge. We've just put the largest dog park in the city in there. We've got a huge skate park. I don't know if you've seen the skate park, but the skate park is pretty amazing. And soccer fields and baseball diamond, picnic shelter. And then we're still continuing to renovate the rest of the park. I went and had dinner Friday night at Flowers of Vietnam. Excellent meal, by the way. And then we decided to go ahead and drive by Riverside Park and check out the skate park. We got there around 9:30. I am not kidding. I couldn't count the number of people. There were probably 300 to 500 people in the park at 9:30 on Friday night.
All socially distancing, I hope, or mostly.
It was hard to tell the family pods apart from everybody else, but a lot of families. Skate park was full. Kids playing soccer. People are having what I would call a good time. And I sat and talked about, we have park patrol that goes out. And I talked to the officer who did the park patrol, and I said, things are good. He goes, oh yeah, it's always like this, but everybody's having fun. And that's what I want to hear. Everybody's having fun.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a park that was
the old animal control building was there. It was
really underfunded. I mean, and then, and then the Maroons, there was that whole part with Riverside Park, but at the end of the day, the city has it now and has made it into an amazing space, right?
We're in our final stages of the conversion process, waiting for the National Park Service to approve the final piece of that. And then when that final piece is done, then we get our final funding for the Broom family for the park. So we're hoping to complete the park. Hopefully a big chunk will complete it by next fall.
Well, and then that should, just even if we look at, and we can't see a ton of it in terms of, well, you can see this picture here. This is the skate park you were talking about. That's amazing. And that's, I think it's pretty, I'm going to say there's a skate park on like the border of Hamtramck and Detroit, kind of that northern border. But this, I think, is probably the biggest, that's got, or nicest skate park in the city.
Yeah, it's the biggest in the 3-state area. So, And a lot of skaters, I mean, 50
Did you say,
skaters,
wait, in the three-state area?
that's what we're told, biggest in the tri-state area. Yeah.
Wow, that's
And,
pretty impressive.
and
Um,
it was funded by the city, the Wilson Foundation, and Tony Hawk Foundation also.
right, I remember when Tony was here. And then obviously you have this great view from Riverside Park, which is really neat. But if we go back to kind of, yeah, just the before, and a lot of the, is this was really what it was, right? Just, I mean, some green space, but not super accessible to a lot of folks. Also, just to where it's at here along the river. So, yeah, I mean, with the plans for West Riverfront Park, which I know isn't your, you're not responsible for that, but it's going to be pretty nice. Obviously, we do a riverfront. We partner with the Riverfront Conservancy on a Riverfront Past, Present, Future tour. We one other place I want to go and see is Rouge Park. This is, as an East Sider, I think I'm going to blame being an East Sider. I did not know about Rouge Park my whole life, pretty much.
A lot of people don't.
And then I found out as we do these tours, and why, once I found out about it, that, I don't know, really got to know it more and more, that it's just one of the best, amazing places in the city. And too many people don't realize it, or if they realize it, they don't realize the extent that the park has. So people talk about Belle Isle a lot, which is obviously amazing, 983 acres, an island park, wonderful. But Rouge Park is actually 1,100 acres. And so that's bigger than Belle Isle, certainly bigger than Central Park. And there's so many different amenities here. Talk to me a little bit about
Eliza Howe Park. People don't know about Eliza Howe Park, which is
right.
just
That's right.
That's not even included in the acreage of Rouge.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And that is really, yeah. I mean, you feel like with Rouge and Eliza Howell, you feel like you can feel like you're up north, in the the Stone Bridge path, and we can see some of those. And we have the memorial here. Oh, the horses, the Buffalo Soldiers Museum. Obviously, which a lot of people think that that where would you find horses in Detroit? Rouge Park is the answer. Obviously, the playgrounds. Oh, this is the Stone Bridge Trail.
Yep.
And if you took this and showed people a picture of this and said, "Where is this?" Their first 10 guesses are not going to be Detroit.
No.
And you guys recently redid the pools as well. Is that correct?
Yep, pools have been redone. Unfortunately, we didn't open it this summer because of COVID concerns. But the pools were redone, and then we're just finishing up on the south end of the park near Warren. We're just finishing up. We just did 8 soccer fields in there, and we're finishing up the playscapes and all that too. So there's going to be a whole new area there that'll be open in the next month.
Nice. Well, and I know, and unfortunately, with the Brennan Pools not being open, but can you just talk a little bit about? I mean, isn't it like there's so many superlatives I've heard talked about with the Brennan Pools, and they were built in the 1930s.
It was done for Olympic practice. It had the original, another section of the pool was filled in. It was just too expensive to repair it, but the pools are massively huge. And then to the south of the current 2 pools was a large diving pool too, and which unfortunately we had to take out because of the expense of maintaining and repairing it. But the 2 pools are great. Lots of people will do laps of the far west side pool, and the pool to the east is often used for families to kind of gather and have a good time. It's a great pool. I enjoy going there, and it's only, I think, 5 feet deep at its deepest. So
nice. Cool. And then there's a golf course. There's D-Town Farms, which is over 7 acres. I mean, if people are looking for a space, an outdoor space that they haven't explored during the last 4 months or 5 months that it is now, Rouge Park is absolutely one of those places that you could spend a lot of time in and still not have seen all of it, because it's so big.
And the golf courses are, we have the city owns 3 golf courses, and our golf courses are off the hook busy this year. We've invested a lot of money in the golf courses and renovated. Chandler and Rouge have seen significant renovations, and people are really enjoying playing there.
And then I can't talk about parks, and especially with you, without talking about my favorite park in the entire city, which is Baldock Park on the east side for my East Siders. So just a little disclaimer, I guess, is that Brad lives over here, over on the east side, in an area where I grew up, near Baldock Park. And this is another thing where, so we talk about East Siders not knowing Rouge Park. West Siders do not really get the pleasure to know Baldock Park too often, but they really should, because there's, again, talk about unique amenities here.
Yeah.
There's the two sides of it, right? So you have the wooded side, and that you added that little zip line too, which is so cool. It's like is it like a kid zip line?
Yeah. There's two of them now, two zip lines. There's one on the north side, one on the south side.
Oh, okay.
But I like the one in the Wooded Park, because it's a little more special, I think.
Yeah.
Dog
And then the biggest thing with Baldock, right, is the sledding hill. People, listen to me. If you have not been sledding at Belle Isle, you have not lived. You put it on your bucket list. You need to go. It is probably the best sledding hill, certainly in the city and maybe the region, and maybe even one of those, we'll throw out those tri-state, one of those tri-state things.
And it's lit up too, so you can see the lights at the top of the hill. When the
Yeah.
winter time, those lights are lit up.
Because it
And
gets dark so early, obviously. One of the straight when I went to
on a good sledding night, you'll go out there. And when you say 300 to 500 people out there sledding, Jeanette?
yeah, I mean, but it's so big that, I mean, you have to wait a little bit, and so it can teach patience, but it's not like lines per se, because again, the hill's so big, and some, little kids like to just go up a little bit and slide down, and then and it really is awesome. But there's also all these sports. There's the new diamond as well on the and playground space. I mean, it's just, absolutely amazing. And I'm always surprised still that just so many people don't know about it. But it is pretty far east side. So just to give people context, we are, it's just near the border and kind of near Point Plaza and St. John Hospital over here on the east side. But speaking of, just really quick, of East English Village, this isn't on the parks thing, but how great is it to have, and you can see kind of some places that we've talked about in other tours, but the Detroit Pepper Company, Zab's Cultural Collective, there's just so much energy and so much going on along East Warren, and Chandler Park Drive too, which there's some talk about, I don't know, where I might, I think maybe we did a parks or a green space tour with Eastside Community Network, but and it might have just been a pie in the sky thing, but the idea of connecting like Baldock down Chandler Park Drive to Chandler Park as like part of a greenway.
Yeah, that's been talked about. I would personally love to see a greenway connection with Chandler Park. I think it'd be great.
Because Chandler Park's another place that, like you mentioned, they have the aquatic center, which probably also isn't open, I'm guessing, because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
But the golf course, and they're doing all sorts. And we'll talk a little bit more in depth about some of these projects, or some of the organizations in different parks on our parks tour tomorrow night. But the aquatic center, just so people, I mean, no, you don't have to go. There's a wave pool, splash pad, 2 slides you can race down. And there's all sorts of fun stuff that happens. So, it's sad that we don't have some of these open right now, but obviously it's for everybody's safety, and it's something to look forward to in the future when things reopen. And I think even when things reopen, there is just going to be that demand for being outside more, right? And we know chlorine kills COVID, so that's an upside to that.
We have one splash pad open. That's a chlorine splash pad at Jane Lasky Park. So it's the only one we have open this year.
Oh, where's that at?
Jane Lasky.
Let's go look at it. Let's go see it. Lasky. I don't think I've been there. Is it by Lasky Recreation Center?
Yeah, it's Jane Recreation Center. It's Jane. Well, everybody calls it Jane Lasky. It's Lasky, or it's Jane Park and Lasky Recreation Center. And
got it.
the splash pad just opened up about a month ago.
Okay, so we're not gonna see it, but
it'll be updated yet.
But yeah, Jane Field, I mean, that's another really great park. And again, and have the one, two of the inside, outside Jane
We
Field and
also have
recreation.
the only cricket field in the city is at Jane Lasky too. And that cricket field's heavily used for building a second cricket field right now. So, but where the word Jane is,
Yeah.
that's more or less where the splash pad is.
And there's lots of parking, which is
And
helpful too.
oh yes, that area right there, that's where it is, but it's not done yet. The pictures were.
Yeah, this is from last year. So
Mhm.
awesome. Well, that's good to know because I know people have been asking. I've seen different moms and parents asking about splash pads. So it's good to know that there is one
Yeah.
open in the city.
It's
So
chlorinated too, so it's been approved by the health department to be open.
great. So, I mean, I don't want to take too much of your time, though. We could talk and talk, and there's so many parks and so many things. But A, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you want to make sure that people know about? And then B, how can people help you, help parks, support, public spaces in the city? What's your call to action?
My call to action be is my staff do a great job. They're out working hard every day, but we need people to be more mindful of the trash. And I just ask people to place your trash in the trash cans. That's it. Just place trash in the cans.
It's a simple ask, and I mean, it saves so much time. It makes the parks nicer for everybody, and it saves people from having to do cleanup X park or clean up. You have cleanups for these things,
Yeah.
especially now because I mean, it's not. I'm sure that you didn't just. Well, I would hope you got a little extra funding to hire more folks to clean up and do these things because of the overuse, but that's not always the case. So people can really chip in by just throwing their garbage away in the city. And I know, I mean, I just want to say thank you so much for all of that you do. Because I mean, these parks, I mean, I know I'm, excuse me, in Lafayette Park, and I have 16-month-old triplets. And so literally every day that I take my triple stroller for a walk through and around Lafayette Park. And
It's a great park too. That's a nice park.
it's
It's
in those hot days when and see, they have to, I've been trying to get my exercise. B, they only sleep in the afternoon with a walk in the stroller. So even when it was 95 degrees, but it's also nicely shaded in Lafayette Park. So I am a big fan about
We had the community
Renaissance
meeting
Park here.
7 years ago. We asked, "What's the number one thing that people wanted in the park?" And the number one thing was wider sidewalks to push strollers down.
Well, there you go. Well, and that wasn't even counting for a triple stroller. And I'm excited for them to get to use the playground once they're old enough, though I still have to figure out how I'm going to have 3 kids and what, I might have to get some extra hands to chase babies or toddlers or kids so that, that's the only thing. See, you didn't plan every park for triplets, apparently, Brad.
That's a problem in our planning. We got to plan for more triplets.
Because there's 2 kids, so we've already thought about like, okay, we hold one on our lap, we put the other 2 here, but okay, we'll figure it out. And again, we're just glad to have so many great public spaces. I've also really loved, which I think more is, before I let you go, is recently we've been going over this way through Elmwood Park, Elmwood Central Park, which is really nice. And then through that now the Joseph Campo Greenway.
The little greenway, yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Was that with, do you partner with Riverfront Conservancy on some of these things? Or was that more you guys?
So we built it, the city built it, but we're leaving it underneath them. I guess is a good way of putting it. So, but we built the Joseph compound. And then we're also in the middle of, which we'll talk one day, is the Joe Louis Greenway to have us back one day. But the Joe Louis is, right. We're looking for a groundbreaking in October.
And that's going to be over by like the Belle Isle.
The Joe Louis Greenway will start where the DeQuinder cut ends.
Oh.
Up through Hamtramck through Highland Park, down through Highland Park, then down through District 7, touching into Dearborn, down through Romanowski Park, you know where that's at, in District 6, and then connecting with the Riverwalk. So,
wow, so that's a pretty big and
30 miles.
Loop. 30 miles?
Yep.
Wow. Well, that'll be really exciting to that. But I really appreciate the Joseph Combo Greenway. And for those that haven't been out yet, it really does just connect here from, you can go from the riverfront and then Joseph Campo, and then this nice little greenway that takes you up through here with the new paved area and everything too. And I even noticed there's like places to charge your phone along the way, and
Ah,
really, just little thoughtful details. So, well, again, thank you so much. And thank you so much for your time. And we really appreciate all the work that you're doing. And we'll spread the word to just get people throwing their trash away. And if someone can also pick something up while they're throwing theirs away, and save a little time, that's always helpful too. So everyone's got hand sanitizer at this time, so you can pick up a couple pieces of garbage and throw it away and help out the parks team. So awesome. Well, you have a really wonderful day, a really wonderful week, and you stay healthy, and we'll hopefully see you soon.
thanks. Bye.
Bye. And everybody, hopefully we'll see you next Monday at 2:00, where we're going to be talking with Ezebe Nnamdi from the Nnamdi Center, who also happens to be the chair of our board at Detroit Experience Factory. And that'll be in preparation for our tour on Black art and artists, innovation and inspiration in Detroit. And as a reminder, you can follow us all at City Institute and Detroit Experience Factory, and you can see any and all previous discussions of Discuss Detroit on the City Institute website at the www, obviously, .thecityinstitute.com. But until then, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and get out there and enjoy some of Detroit's amazing and wonderful parks. Have a great day.